since he was killed. His mother recalls that about a week before Cohen's murder, he told her he was saving his money to buy a plot of land to build a home because he wanted to marry his girlfriend and start a life there. His mother says today is a sad day despite receiving her desired verdict. One of Downs' friends provided another example of his violent behavior following the decision. The sentencing phase begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the Calhoun County Courthouse, where Downs could face 5 to 99 years to life in prison. Reporting live from the courthouse, Trenton Whiting, KVUTV 25 News Now.
Trenton, thank you. This morning around 11:15, a vehicle crashed into the front of this local restaurant. The front of this establishment is located at 3810 North Navarro Street, and it caved in after the collision. The Victoria Police Department says the driver was ready to place their car in the parking lot. Instead of pressing the brake, the accelerator was pushed. The Dodge then drove into the building. No one was hurt except for a small scratch on a child's foot. The Ganado ISD teachers and staff were celebrated this morning with a send-off. The cheerleading team, the marching band, and a tractor made for a joyous event meant to show the community's appreciation for district educators. Superintendent Jonathan Shalmiski says the send-off is usually for students, but this year he wanted to do something different for the teachers.
And I want to show them how much we appreciate them. In this day and age where it's hard to find teachers, we have some fantastic ones here in Ganado. And it's our job to grow them and harvest them and keep them here as long as we can.
The superintendent says Ganado ISD teachers were recently given raises as part of the district's effort to attract and retain talent. This year, Ganado ISD is also celebrating 125 years of educating students. So here is your viewer poll this afternoon. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, what is your biggest concern as your children goes back to school? Is it safety and security, academic performance, social interaction, health and wellness, or bullying? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. A few little pop-up showers. Let's see if we can find them. Well, they're down here near Port Lavaca, and there's one over there not far from the Beeville area, but there's not many. In fact, we've got plenty of sunshine. In fact, we're looking at temperatures to start pushing the triple digits this week. Yep, we're going to be in the hundreds for the weekend. We'll talk more about that and take a look at where Debbie is right about now. All that coming up in weather in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Mac, thank you. 3 people hurt in Texas after they used bathrooms with explosives hidden underneath the toilet seats. It happened last month at 2 car washes in San Antonio. Police say Paul Moses Booby trapped the toilet seats with commercial fireworks designed to explode when pressure is applied. He is now facing a charge of arson with bodily injury. Security camera footage shows the suspect entering and leaving the bathrooms, then watching the bathroom door from the lobby and leaving after the explosions. Students at a Texas middle school have a new dress code policy this year. The policy eliminates all black clothing for students. School officials say wearing black is associated with mental health issues.
They can wear, like black shorts to go to PE. And, they can wear it on free dress day, but they just cannot wear it from top to bottom.
Students at Charles Middle School will be heading back to school soon, but won't be allowed to wear all black clothing. According to a letter sent to parents by Principal Nick DeSantis, the school is eliminating all black clothing because he says it's associated with depression and mental health issues.
It's what they are not allowing anymore.
Many people disagree with this new policy, posting comments online saying the color of clothing has nothing to do with your ability to do anything or feel any emotion, says Alex Lucero. Another comment by Peter Beneke Jr. says wearing black is not a mental health issue. It's the way of life. And Alexis Contreras commented, making students wear a different color isn't going to magically make them a completely different person.
Now, the colors are not so much to prevent or stop mental health issues. You can have the most colorful dress on and still be suffering through depression or whatever.
I asked EPSD what led them to connect all black clothing to depression and mental health issues. And they responded in a statement that says in part, quote, The dress code changes were a response to concerns and recommendations brought forward by the stakeholders of Charles Middle School. But for students returning to school Monday, you can expect to see these new clothing changes on this campus.
Parents that, are upset, they just need to make sure that they go through and read the dress code policy, very, very carefully.
A Texas family is presumed lost at sea in Alaska. The Coast Guard reports they got a call Saturday night about a boat taking on water off the coast. The boat was carrying 8 people. 4 were rescued, while the family of 4 are still missing.
Can confirm it was the Maynard family. Anytime we make a decision to suspend a search and rescue case is a very difficult one to make. Cases that are suspended, they're only suspended pending the development of new information. So if anything comes to light, any new information that we get, we're more than happy and willing to go out and continue our search. But our hearts are definitely with the families right now as they grieve.
Missing are David and Mary Nayard of Troy, Texas, along with their 2 school-aged children. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News now at 5, presidential candidate Kamala Harris chooses her running mate. Also ahead, the actions the U.S. is taking after attacks on an Iraq base. U.S. personnel injured in a suspected rocket attack at an airbase in Iraq. The Defense Department blames Iranian-aligned militants for this attack. The Iraqi military intercepted a vehicle with rockets and is searching for the perpetrators. The Pentagon reports this is evidence of Iran's destabilizing role in the region. Tensions in the Middle East are high, with the U.S. sending more military assets in anticipation of retaliation against Israel. Now to the race for the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate.
Vice President Kamala Harris selecting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. The 60-year-old emerged as a favorite for some high-profile Democrats and labor unions. A source familiar with the process says that Harris was impressed in part with the governor's authenticity.
I'm not interviewing for anything. I'm just am who I am and put it out there.
Walz is a veteran and former congressman who represented a conservative-leaning rural district for 12 years. Prior to that, he was a high school football coach and teacher.
I don't know if every high school geography teacher expects to be in this position at some point. But it is very strange to be running on my treadmill and have people talking about the things that are there.
He's already proving to be an effective messenger. He was one of the first to refer to the top of the GOP ticket as weird, a talking point that has gained traction in recent weeks.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power.
With less than 100 days to go, Harris and Walz will hit the ground running, appearing at a rally in Philadelphia Tuesday evening and making several stops in battleground states throughout the week. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Strengthening your leg muscles could help you eliminate or slow down the progression of knee arthritis. A recent study published in the medical journal JAMA Network Open finds those with lower muscle mass in their legs had an increased risk for developing knee osteoarthritis. That's because greater muscle mass can protect and cushion the knee. A study published in the journal Experimental and Therapeutic Medicine finds knee osteoarthritis is associated with a high rate of death and disability. An emergency declaration from the American Red Cross warns that donations are dangerously low, leading to emergency shortages. This as the weather is also wreaking havoc on the nation's blood supply.
From record heat to hurricanes, the American Red Cross says the weather is playing a key role in blood drive cancellations across the country. Nearly 100 impacted in the U.S. last month alone, and now the organization is feeling the burn.
It's an emergency.
With vacations and other summer activities, the Red Cross typically sees fewer donations this time of year, but with added weather challenges, the organization says its blood inventory plunged more than 25% in July, while hospital needs remain the same. And hurricane season is ramping up, which could raise demand even more.
The American Red Cross does have a national inventory system such that no region will go without blood, but that means it's just that much more important for the areas that are not impacted for individuals to come out and donate.
All blood types are needed, but especially type O, positive and negative. In recent weeks, the Red Cross says low supplies have forced a reduction in how much of this critical blood type it's able to provide to hospitals.
There are traumas, burn patients, patients with cancer, women in labor and delivery, heart surgeries. Those are going on all the time, around the clock. And so as the summer rolls on and you're busy, just please remember the people that are in hospitals today.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Many teenagers are still dealing with the blues. The latest youth risk behavior survey from the CDC finds 40% of teenagers believe they constantly feel sad or hopeless. Although that's a slight improvement from a couple years ago, it's still roughly 10 percentage points higher from a decade ago. And gender appears to play a role. 53% of girls say they were often sad compared to just 28% of boys. The findings are based on more than 20,000 high school students nationwide. Roughly 400 Texans landed in emergency rooms for carbon monoxide poisoning following Hurricane Beryl, which hit the state on July 8th, marking the highest number since the storm of 2021. You can read this full Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And now here's Mac.
That's very interesting detail because people were using generators for power and things of that nature, and they don't know that they need to be outside or at least properly vented. Anyway, folks, we are looking at a heat wave that's going to hit us, yes. Temperatures in the triple digits coming in this week. Looking at 98 right about now, so we're very close to the triple digits. Feels like 108. Our official high for the day is exactly where we're at, and that's above our seasonal average. We are, of course, not in the tropical storm game. Everything of tropical storms is staying on the East Coast. We'll be talking more about that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, everyone. You probably felt the heat today because we're starting to get very close to that 100-degree mark. And this week we probably will see it. One or two little isolated sprinkle showers are popping up down there toward the coastal areas down in Calhoun County, but that's about it. And once the sun goes down, that's going to be over with so that's not going to help us much. Maybe a cloud or two. You can see how all the winds are racing down into Florida and then racing around the tropical storm right about there. As far as we are concerned, we've had very light winds because we're not close enough to that system to get a real strong downslope wind. But what we're getting is, of course, the heat and the humidity. Now, the big bubble of high pressure is going to center itself and reinforce itself on top of us. That's why we're looking for a bit of a rise in the temperatures. So let's go see what's going on. In addition to that, see all this gray here? This is air pollution. This is an air pollution watch for basically Austin to San Antonio and up to Waco, also for Houston and Galveston. That's because our winds are so light. Yeah, and generally we need that sea breeze to blow everything up and disperse the atmosphere, but it isn't happening with our very light winds. So there's Debbie. There's that system that had a 30% potential yesterday. It's probably even less today, and it looks like it's going to be hugging the coast of Central America. Debbie coordinates 32.1 and 80.8 west, in case you're tracking it. It's got winds at 40 miles an hour, and get a load of this. Debbie is right at the South Carolina and Georgia border right about there, and it's going to go out to sea. Now, it's going very slowly. As a matter of fact, I think it was down to less than 8 miles an hour. Once it gets out over there, it is expected to regenerate and then make this big turn up into South Carolina. So places like Wilmington and all of the Carolinas, and believe it or not, much of the East Coast is going to be affected by Debbie. So Debbie is not over with just yet. Although it has lost some of its strength, it is still spinning around out there, causing tremendous downpours. And Florida, of course, you may have seen that network pictures that they've had just massive flooding all over the place. In Sarasota, got a 3-day total of 18 inches of rainfall, so you can imagine a 1.5 feet of rain. So this is what is expected in the future. You can see the heaviest rain off the Carolina coasts, and then heavy rain also moving up into Virginia and even New York State. So Debbie is going to go up the eastern seaboard on land. So they're going to have 40-mile-an-hour winds and tremendous downpours for much of the eastern states. For us, high pressure is keeping us away from the storm, but it's keeping us on the hot side of things. So we'll certainly be watching for that. Sunny skies tomorrow, 96 in Port Lavaca. In Cuero, looking for a high of 98. Plenty of sunshine and heat, and humidity will be keeping us at or near 100 beginning on Thursday all the way through the weekend. Sorry, folks, but it is August. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks, plus what experts suggest to combat accumulating debt in American households. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 294 points, the S&P 500 up 454 points, and the Nasdaq up 167 points. Oil up 26 cents, closing at $73.20 per barrel. It looks like a better day for your retirement account, with the Dow rebounding nearly 500 points after falling over 1,000 yesterday. The Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago president reassures investors amid recession fears, but says there won't be an emergency Fed meeting to cut those interest rates. Keeping interest rates high aims to cool the economy and reduce inflation. American households are accumulating more debt, reaching a record $17.8 trillion. In the last quarter, households added $109 billion in debt, with $77 billion from mortgages and $27 billion from credit cards. High interest rates continue to stress borrowers. The Federal Reserve decided to maintain current interest rates, delaying potential lower borrowing costs. Analysts advise reevaluating big purchases and avoiding credit card spending until rates decrease. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast with Mac when we come back. Plus, that fast food restaurant that is launching a new fragrance. Plus, here's a look at World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, the Democratic presidential nominee and her running mate hit the campaign trail. Plus, the state of emergency tracking the rainfall and flooding. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
Auntie Annie's is launching a perfume inspired by its pretzels. It's infused with notes of buttery dough, salt, and a hint of sweetness. The pretzel maker says each pump evokes the experience of passing by their store in the mall, of course, we all know. Now, the product launch will be celebrated with a pop-up perfume store on August 13th in New York City. After that, you can buy it on their website. It's available for $25, but the big bottle costs $45. And as far as perfumes go, that's relatively cheap. So I think I would rather smell like a pretzel than smell musty, last resort.
You know what? Get a pretzel and put it in your pocket. It's kind of the same thing.
Oh, the scent is so strong. You might as well just buy a pretzel for $4 instead of that $25 bottle.
Or wear the pretzel around like a necklace and then go, oh, yeah. Yesterday you had dog perfume. Now you got pretzel perfume.
We have to come up with something now.
America, what are we doing? Anyway, folks, we are looking at some hot weather for the next few days. In fact, our highs will get up to triple digits. So we're looking for hundreds by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You know the drill. Take it easy. Don't overdo it in the middle part of the day. And then watch and wait. We are not in the next 7 to 10 days involved in any kind of tropical activity. Of course, Debbie is going to continue to be a problem for the eastern seaboard, but nothing for Texas. In fact, from Texas to the west out to Arizona and California, we're looking at a big old heat wave, which is going to last for at least 5 to 7 days. So we're doing hot stuff and they're doing all the wet stuff along the East Coast.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind, we always want to remember those paws on your animals. It gets hot out there and that concrete burns their little paws.
Yeah, and also it's the time of the year when you've got to check the back seat of your car.
Oh.
You don't want to, you want to leave anybody there, whether it's two-legged or four-legged. Even products you might leave out there that might actually melt in the heat. So just consider, of course, people debate this. I crack my windows.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, that way when you go into the car, it's not like a burst of heat into your face.
It's an oven, you know. And I have a black car. What was I thinking?
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.